All right, everybody. Welcome back to a very special episode of, Sports Hype. We got ourselves the last episode of the year right now. Happy 2024 almost. We're going to be talking about week 15 and week 16 in the NFL, what happened over Christmas, right? How'd they get, more viewership than the NBA on Christmas? 6 times more viewership, that is. We're going to be talking about Brandon Staley, how he got fired. Russell Wilson, what's going on with him? Please tell me he's going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to be talking about what's going on with the Broncos, period. How are they going to, turn things around? They just won, 5 games in a row, 6 games in a row, and then now they're losing again. Then we're going to be talking about how Tommy Cutlets got benched for Tyrod Taylor and how they almost won against the Eagles. Then we're going to be talking about what's next for him. And obviously, we're going to be talking about the Commanders as well.
Yes, sir. So we'll start with week 15 since we missed that a few weeks ago. Um, who wants to go first? I'll give the floor to whoever.
Yeah, I'll let you go.
Week 15, that was a rough week, especially for the Steelers. Had a loss. Very, very troublesome loss just because we were in the playoff hunt. We were the 6th seed or 7th seed, I do believe. Now we're out, we're into the hunt, and it's very worrisome as a Steelers fan. We really wanted to make sure we went into the playoffs, guns a-blazing, and we couldn't do that. Lost to the Colts 30-13, got blown out. Lions killed the, Broncos. Dolphins skunked the Jets 30-0. Like stuff's happening all over the league, crazy things happening. Bucks beating the Packers, Saints beating the Giants. And then obviously we had the Chiefs beating the Patriots 27-17, 49ers killing the Cardinals, right? Unfortunately, the Bills beat the Cowboys, but then again, two choke artists, in the franchises, whichever one could choke more, really, lost the game. So yeah, it was a crazy week in week 15, but being a Steelers fan, it was hard to see, hard to watch, especially since we lost to the Colts.
Yeah, that was definitely a disappointing week for the Cowboys as well. Very, very frustrating week for me as a Cowboys fan. Concerning to say the least, seeing us go in there and what looked to be a playoff atmosphere and just not showing up. And it just reminds me of why I can't trust the Cowboys completely until I see them beat a good team or a playoff team for that matter in a playoff atmosphere. So I'm with Gio. It was a very frustrating week, but it was also very crazy. A lot of upsets that week for sure.
It was a good week for a Dolphins fan. Got back to handling business. Blew the Jets out. Disappointed in the Cowboys. I needed them to get that dub, just so Miami could relieve some pressure. Uh, but yeah, it's set up week 16.
Yes, sir. Gio, we're gonna let the Steelers fan go, and then the Dolphins and Cowboys fan will evaluate that game.
Yeah, for sure. So week 16, right? Very thankful, very great early Christmas present for myself on December 23rd.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, baby.
Rudolph, Mason Rudolph lit up the Cincinnati Bengals. Not only Mason Rudolph, but the disgruntled George Pickens went for a all-time career game, 195 yards, 2 TDs, and 4 receptions.
Yes,
All
sir.
balled out. Mason Rudolph got the ball to Pickens when he needed it. Najee Harris had 78 yards, 1 TD. Warren was in there running. Like this looked like the offense that I was assured we were gonna see with Kenny Pickett. I don't know why we had, Mitch Trubisky go ahead in front of Mason Rudolph, even though we had success before with Mason Rudolph. When I know you like Mitch, but I'm saying when we had success with Mason Rudolph before this, and we had Mitch on the team, I mean, we should just went with what worked before. And I think it's a little too late going to Mason because we only have 1 or 2 games left, man. We have 1 game left, so really, it's hard to see, and uh, it's unfortunate, but it happened, and I'm glad we got this one though.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on the money. I think you should have played Mason from the start. Mitch is not even a backup quarterback in the at this point in his career anymore. So it should have been Mason's job from the start, but I do believe this was the right move, and Mason proved it was the right move. And even with Kenny coming back, they're still sticking with Mason, which is smart in my opinion, because he's been the best quarterback for the Steelers in obviously one start. He has to do it more than one game, but I believe he has the best chance to get you guys to the playoffs.
For sure. And it's not that hard. It's just get George
Get
Pickens
Pickens
the
the ball.
ball.
It's that simple.
That's simple,
And
right?
he's
And
the
Kenny
only
didn't do that,
quarterback who did that.
right?
It just doesn't make sense to me why Kenny and Mitch don't. But if Mason continues to do it and you keep winning, then kudos to him.
For sure. And when you give George the ball, right, George Pickens, then that opens up the running game too. And as we saw with Warren and we saw with Najee Harris having that 78-yard, rushing yards and then also a touchdown.
For sure. I know Nick Say is probably mad about, his
Money
boy getting
Mitch.
benched.
It was a good dub for the Steelers. George Pickens balled out. But I think he would have had a better game with Mitch.
No. What do you mean he would have had a better game with Mitch?
I think Money Mitch is the top 3 quarterback in the
Oh
league.
my God, bro.
Honestly, good job, Mason Rudolph. Now just give it back to Money Mitch.
Oh my gosh, bro. He ain't Money Mitch. It's Money Rudolph.
Money Mitch. Money Mitch, we'll take you in Miami. You can come be a third string. Come get this ring.
So if you want to go that route, right? Let's go to the Dolphins game real quick. Can we go to the Dolphins game?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. Go ahead. As a Dolphins fan, you can start that one off.
Miami handled business. Um, Honestly, I don't know how they won because that first half was horrible from
I'll tell
Miami.
you. I'll tell you how in a little bit, but keep going.
Um, there's a whole lot of credit to our defense.
100%.
They did extremely well, besides the fact that CeeDee Lamb torched us. Um, but we contained CD in that offense enough to win, so I'll take it. Raheem Mostert kind of did this thing. I think he was like a turning point. Tua was distributing the ball, which I really liked. Like Cedric Wilson, he got more targets than usual. Love that.
I also believe that could have been to Waddle's injury, though.
Yeah, but I just need Cedric to get the ball more. Like I need Tua to stop force feeding Tyreek
Yeah,
and distribute the ball more like he did against Cowboys.
that's fair. But to answer your question, what went wrong was the Cowboys went away from CD, and I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe it's because obviously after that slant route, they made sure Jalen Ramsey shadowed him. But I believe there was ways to avoid that, but like putting him on the right side because I believe Jalen Ramsey's strictly on the left side, correct?
Yeah, they had
So
in the field.
yeah, so I believe that the Cowboys could have easily avoided that by putting CD on the right side, which they did for one play, but it was too little, too late at that point. And then I believe if we went down the field with ease at first, and then we fumbled at the 2 yard line. If we score there, I think the game is a little different. Momentum's more on our side, and it might be enough to get the win. So I believe turnovers, penalties, and the lack of CD in the second half is the reason the Dolphins were able to come on top.
I would agree with that. CD was torching Xavier Howard, like
Yeah, 100%.
bro. But Jalen Ramsey really that corner. You feel me?
Oh, he is. But I mean, if he's strictly on the left side, it's not that hard. You just put him on the right.
Wait till playoffs, then we gonna have Jalen following the entire time.
But I mean, it was a great game. So credit to the Dolphins for sure.
Shout out the Cowboys too. I thought they played well despite coming out with the loss. I know you would rather see more from your offense,
Yeah.
but I think we're a top defense with Jalen Ramsey on the field, so I think it was a pretty good game.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the red zone and penalties is what worries me the most about this team because it's been issues all season. So we got to clean that up.
I think it's good. It's also good for the Cowboys though to get these losses out of the way now, and then come playoffs, hopefully they're more locked in.
Yeah. Hopefully it fuels them a little more. But Gio, what's your thoughts on that game?
The only thing that I saw these past 2 weeks for the Cowboys is they cannot win on the road against a top 500 team.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
really is that
There,
simple.
there's no denying it. It's facts.
And that's why we talked about this. And I was like, dude, home field advantage is so important for the Cowboys. Like any other team, every other team wants home field advantage. But for
Mhm.
the Cowboys strictly, it's it's a game changer. They will win. I would guarantee you 9 out of 10 games at home against a top 500 team. And not just
Yeah.
win, blow them out at least by 15, four, like two touchdowns to possibly three touchdowns, right? With the Dolphins, this was a great win on that side, right? They beat a top 500 team, right? A great team, Super Bowl contender. You know, great to see them, at least get that win under their belt. For me, though, it really comes down to how the Cowboys lost themselves that game, right? Like you said, CD Lamb cooking. Every receiver in the league that was cooking got the ball the entirety of the game. George Pickens, one, and then Amari Cooper, number two. Those two guys got the ball the entire game. So for you guys to shy away from CD, even though he was cooking, I really feel like you should have done more to get him the ball more because he was really your number one and your reliability scoring wise, getting down the field. So to me, that was really the game changer was when you guys really went away from CD. I think if you're gonna do that, Pollard's got to play a lot better. I I really thought you guys did have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and for for Pollard to only doing what he's doing now, and you get to see what Zeke's doing on the Patriots, it really shows like it makes me question the reliability of Pollard and your guys' offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, there was no tire on that game that really hurt us. No, our starting left tackle was down. Bradley Chubb was feasting on our backup left tackle, who was
Right.
terrible. But that didn't help. But yeah, I'm starting to question Tony Pollard myself. I don't believe he is a workhorse type of back. I believe
Mhm.
he's better in a secondary type of role. And
Right.
it's starting to make me kind of wish that we did keep Zeke for that secondary power
For sure.
back role that he was in.
Right.
At the same time, though, the Cowboys played a phenomenal defensive line in Miami.
Yeah, but if you look at the
Um,
stats, though, I mean, Pollard hasn't done anything against bottom tier defenses either.
Hey, we talk about this week. All right, this is Zeke's first good game too.
Zeke's had three good games
two,
in a row.
two or three. Starting with the Steelers game, moving forward, that's when he started playing well. We all know that.
Mm, mm. I'm a Patriots hater. I want to say Zeke played well.
But with the Dolphins though, it's good to see. I am still questioning if they can do it against a great team with how other teams in the AFC are playing right now, kicking up speed, right? I think the top two teams right now in the AFC to beat, and this is scary to say because they're both from the AFC North, the Ravens and the Cleveland Browns with Joe Flacco is an entirely different team.
Yeah, the Browns are cooking right now, but I still got the AFC for me is between the Ravens and Dolphins, and that's going to be the matchup this Sunday. And if the Dolphins do come out on top, I believe it'll run through the Dolphins.
Um, See, that's where it's tricky for me because I do believe the Cleveland Browns have just as good of a defense as the Miami Dolphins. The only
Yeah,
thing
they
that
do.
he has is the offense. But you never know if Joe Flacco is going to go prime Joe Flacco again, going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch for sure.
Honestly, I'm not worried about Cleveland at all.
You don't be worried until they beat you.
No, I'm not, like I think I'm more worried about the Colts rather than like
Oh, that's another team that's hot right now. When you got Garner Minshew chucking that ball.
I think the AFC is between three teams. Um, Baltimore,
Yep.
maybe, and Buffalo.
They're hot, but I'm still questioning like whether they're legit or not.
The past couple of weeks, it looks like Josh Allen's on, which
And
is
he's focused. And he's focused.
The Bills will be more legit if they're at home, like the Cowboys, because they
Right, for
play better
sure.
at home.
Right.
it's all possible too. That's the worst part.
Yeah, if you guys lose to the Ravens and they keep winning, it's gonna come down to week 18.
What
For
an
sure.
easy week this week too, just like
Yeah,
they
you
started.
if I'm the Dolphins, I want to get that win out of the way just so to make sure they can't get home field advantage.
And we lock up the 1 seed with that.
Right, exactly. Well, it's gonna be tough though, because the Ravens could lock up the 1 seed and their division if they win, so they're gonna come out ready to play.
They look scary good too.
Like, bro, they
Without Mark
embarrass
Andrews.
Brock Purdy and the 49ers,
But think without Mark Andrews too.
right? And but to have Brock Purdy throw 4 interceptions, that defense,
That defense is insane.
like Tua's gonna have to come to play.
Yeah, well, Brock Purdy ain't no Tua Tagovailoa. He's just slightly below Tua.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So you had all this hype around Brock Purdy. We had, I think, a 50-minute argument on how I thought Brock Purdy wasn't a top five quarterback.
Oh, he is top five.
No, no, no. Not after what I just saw, he's not.
I think he really is. I don't know how like to really define a system quarterback, really, but he really is a system quarterback when you look at the weapons around him, right? I feel like any mediocre or smart quarterback can put up the numbers that Brock Purdy was putting up
100%.
Why couldn't Jimmy G do it?
because he's
Because
not
Jimmy G's a
mediocre. We
below
all
average
know,
quarterback.
right? We all know that. If you put Kirk Cousins, if you put Jared Goff, if you put Brock Purdy, if you put maybe, I would say maybe like a Zach Wilson or Baker Mayfield type player, I think they could actually put up the same amount of numbers
Brock Purdy.
as Brock Purdy. Yeah,
Brock Purdy is an elite game management quarterback. Elite.
Yeah, because he has the best running back in the league.
yeah,
Tom Brady was a game manager. He was elite.
yeah.
He's
But you also saw how he was different because he could make other players great around him, whereas other players around Brock is making him look great. Do you understand what I'm saying?
listen. Brock Purdy had a rough game. He had a fluke game.
He's having a rough season, if we're gonna be honest.
Hey. It's the talent around him that's letting him down.
Is it because they're getting injured and then we're seeing what the real Brock Purdy is?
All I'm saying, Brock Purdy is top five.
When everyone's healthy, I agree with you. When everyone's healthy on the San Francisco 49ers offense, he is a top five quarterback.
The way I see it, he's been practicing all season with these healthy guys, these starting guys.
Yeah.
Have most of them get hurt, it breaks up the rhythm he's built with those guys.
Oh,
He doesn't have the same rhythm, the same timing, the
but the
same.
yards after catch, that really doesn't matter though. The yards after catch.
Hey, ball players gonna make ball player plays. You feel me? You just gotta get them that rock. It's like Tua feed me Tyreek.
Yeah, what's going on with that? Why isn't Reek having the type of year that we're accustomed to?
Huh.
Tyreek Hill is not having, I would say, the consistency as previous years.
You talking like recently?
You're right.
He's been fighting injuries. He got hurt two
Well, I
weeks
know he
ago.
has that ankle injury, right?
Yeah.
I would say though the targets though, I really feel like Tua, it's just not the same. It doesn't have the same like feel to it. Watching the Dolphins, it's not like, oh, Reek's gonna be open here. You know that Tua's, looking for Reek.
It's because Rick is the entire game plan.
Got you.
Yeah, I mean, bro, the Cowboys had like 2 corners, well, a corner and then a safety over the top, just because they
Right.
knew.
And I think our run game is so much better this year
It is.
than last year that it's kind of relieving.
For sure.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, he's still nearing 2,000 yards. So
Oh, 100%. I'm not saying he's having a bad year for any means. I'm just saying the consistency of the game. We're not seeing the 120 per week, per week.
right.
Hey, he's third in MVP.
He is third in MVP, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
number one is
Tua
Lamar
Tom.
Jackson.
Huh?
It's Lamar Jackson.
It's Lamar.
Tua Tom.
No. In your mind, sure.
I listen, Lamar's cool, whatever. Maybe he's a front runner right now. Like he's still gotta come to he's gotta play Miami. And then Tua's gonna show us MVP.
Well, let's move on to a previous MVP player in Russell Wilson, who's having a very hard year this year. They went out, I believe, what were they? 1-5, 1-6,
One and
going ahead,
five.
1-5, going ahead, winning 5 straight games, going 6-5. Then going ahead and losing. I mean, it's an up and down year, but now he's getting benched. They're gonna waive him in March. I mean, what's going on there?
I feel bad for Russell Wilson, to be honest with you. I mean, he's no apparently what is being said is that he's known this for months that they were going to start moving on, which
Yeah,
makes sense why the team started to derail. If he knows that they're going to start moving on, then he can say it's not going to get in his head, but it's 100% going to get in his head. And
for
I
sure.
believe that's affected his play.
Either way, he's getting paid $30 million a year next year.
Well, yeah, but that's another reason why they're benching him is because if he gets hurt, they have to pay him 37 million regardless. So they don't want him getting hurt.
Right.
I think that's crazy though, at the same
I do
time.
too, because like, bro, they're like, oh, it's a winning move. Jared Stidham's not going to win you games like Russell Wilson will.
He's not going to win you games. And two, I feel like this is bad culturally, especially since you're
100%.
trying to rebuild, you're trying to gain momentum. And I had more respect for Sean Payton because I thought he would have stood his ground and said, you know what? We're a winning franchise. We're turning the table on this. I'm here now. And we're going to create a culture just like the Detroit Lions did, just like, Miami Dolphins did with Mike McDaniels. Like all these great teams now created these cultures around their coach, pretty much.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of respect for Sean Payton this year. Like, especially seeing him rail into Russell Wilson that one game on the sidelines when Russ didn't
Yeah,
really do anything.
right.
Like, I don't believe Russell Wilson respects him. And I think that's the main reason why this is happening.
That's why this is happening. And another thing is, I feel like Russ is going to have such a bounce back year next year where we're not going to be talking about how Russell Wilson is, lower tier quarterback. We're going to be talking about how he's a MVP quarterback, Super Bowl contender, like one of the best quarterbacks in the league because of this change in scenery.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying he's been playing bad. But yeah, the past 4 games he has been, but if you look at his total season stats, he has better numbers than Patrick Mahomes this year.
He's a top three passing quarterback in the league right now.
Mahomes has more interceptions than Russell Wilson. Let's just put it that way.
Right. And they won 5 straight games with a team that was one, mind you, 1-5. 1-5. And they won 5 straight games against great teams. Not bad teams, great teams.
Yeah, it's a bad look for the Broncos, I think. And if I'm a quarterback that they're interested in, I'd be like, well, are you going to stand by me if things get tough? Because I don't believe you will.
But then again, why would you say when they're such in a groove, when they're such in rhythm, they're winning games, and you're saying, well, you know what, Russ, we're gonna move on from you because you have a bad attitude and you're talking. Oh, but you're winning, so why would we tell you this when you're winning?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
I think it's diminishing towards their future as well. With like,
For sure.
I think with free agents trying to come to Denver, I think it's diminishing. And then also current players on the team, I can see that's diminishing.
Yeah,
I,
Judy's probably gonna want out, right?
Sutton probably gone.
Sutton's gone, Russ is gone, and that's pretty much your entire offense.
I think it's beyond just like the offense and how they play on the field. Like by benching Russ and guaranteeing not to pay him that like extra money if he got hurt and costing winning to save that money, I think it diminishes their winning mindset. And
Yeah, 100%.
a ton of people are like, money is an incentive to go to Denver. They've shown money, they're going to do what's best for the team, the franchise.
Yeah, I believe Sean Payton has lost the locker room, and if the Denver
Mhm.
Broncos come out and play the way I think they will, that'll prove that Payton lost the locker room with this move.
Right, for sure.
But obviously, he has a no trade clause, so it's not looking like he'll get traded. He'll most likely be waived by the fifth
In
day
March.
of the league year in
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
So what are the best landing spots for him? I know Gio wants the Steelers, but
Pittsburgh.
realistically, what's the best
No,
landing spots do you
realistically,
think?
I could see Pittsburgh, and I see New York,
The Giants or
the Giants.
okay.
I don't think the Giants are the move.
I
It's
don't either because
it's
I
like
think they stick with Danny Dimes in that contract.
I
Atlanta.
yeah,
It,
I was gonna say Atlanta.
I could also see New Orleans.
Ooh, oh,
Yeah,
that would be such a crazy storyline where Sean Payton leaves New Orleans, and then since he couldn't win another Super Bowl, Russ is like, I'm coming here where your old town was. I'm gonna win them a Super Bowl, which you couldn't do after Drew Brees,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of quarterback needy teams out there for sure.
for sure.
It's just a matter of where Russ thinks is the best fit for him because it's going to come down to his
How
option.
about Las Vegas?
I could see Las Vegas.
they got Jimmy G.
Nope.
Yeah, bottom tier quarterback. There's like eight QB needy teams, man.
Yeah, it is endless. It's just the fact his contract is so terrible. For them to pick
Well,
him up, it would be crazy.
yeah, but I feel like you could also restructure that contract if he is willing to, because I don't think he's willing to in Denver, but somewhere else I believe he would be willing to.
I think he was just so head first going into Denver. He really like tried to fall in love with the city, fall in love with the fans, right? I mean, it's gonna be tough for him to go anywhere else and trust an organization as he trusted the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, for sure. Sega.
Washington could be a place too.
I was thinking them.
But they don't have a deep like I think he would want to go to a contender, right? I see a great team rebuilding in Las Vegas right now, a great defensive team. Hopefully that interim coach gets hired as a full-time coach. He's a great coach. He was a great player. Now he's a great coach. You keep Devontae Adams happy, right? You get another weapon for him. You get Russ. Keep Josh Jacobs. I mean, you have a great team building in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie. Russ and Devontae Adams, that'd be a tough duo.
what about Russ with Curtis Samuel, Scary Terry, Brian Robinson at the
But they
running
don't have
back?
a defense, though. That's the problem. What are you shaking your head about? Like,
And then make a defense, buy a defense.
buy a
Cowboys
defense. Wow, buy buy a defense. Yo, Magic Johnson, go buy a defense, bro.
Cowboys would still sweep. But yeah, no, there's a lot of quarterback needy teams. I could see the Steelers. I know Gio would really approve of that, but
I would
I,
love that.
I
Big
mean,
Russell Wilson fan, come over to Pittsburgh. It's
there's so many
so
options for
Tomlin
him.
dynamic though. That's the problem.
Yeah, there's so many options for him, but it's just going to come down to what he thinks is best for him and his family, obviously.
For sure.
Like,
But sticking to coaching, obviously a coach that we wanted fired a long time ago finally did get fired after a week 15 beatdown. Got smoked 63-21 by Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders after they put up 0 points against the worst team in the league. Um, so obviously Brandon Staley gone as the Chargers head coach, and the GM is gone as well. Clean
Sure.
house for the Chargers. I believe it was the right move. What's your guys' thoughts on this move for the Chargers?
it's a good move at a convenient time.
I mean,
What?
it was a good move. Oh, sorry. Were you gonna?
No, I was just asking why he thinks it's convenient at a
Yeah, that's
convenient
what I was
time.
gonna ask.
There's a Hall of Fame coach that does wonderful things with good quarterbacks
There,
by
there is.
that could become available this offseason.
Do
Bill
you think he
Belichick,
will? Do you think he will though? That's the real question.
No.
I truly do.
I don't believe the Patriots are going to move on from him. I just can't see them moving on from him.
Bill Belichick won that game to mess up their draft capital. North. And guess what? Now he gets to run it with Herb, him and Herbie, all the way.
I
Go ahead,
mean,
Gio. What were you going to say about the move?
I was gonna say yes, it was a good move overall. But whatever happened, if you're this late into a season, having the respect for the coach, having the respect for the organization itself, and firing the coach at the end of the season, you will have 3 games. It's not like you're gonna go ahead and win these next 3 games, go to the playoffs as the Chargers. Just wait, finish out the season, and then fire your coach. I hate all these, mid-season firings because it's like, oh, what are you really trying to prove? Have respect, finish out the season, right? Show you're a good organization, have good culture, and then go move on to the next season.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of in-season firings either. Obviously for the Raiders it worked out, but like
Right.
if you're the Chargers in that standpoint, you had no chance. If you had a chance at making the playoffs, then okay, I get
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But you had
Right.
no chance at making the playoffs no matter what. So what's the
Right.
point?
Exactly.
Recruiting season. That's why. Hey, Bill, we have a head coach spot wide open now, and we have no GM. You can come in here, do your thing. You can help us pick your GM. And guess what? You get Justin Herbert with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, and a nice defense that you can turn around being a defensive minded head coach.
Hey man, if Bill does move on, it would be a good fit, but I don't think Bill's gonna move on.
Bill's going to LA. He wants to be kicking it.
Uh-huh. But going back to the NFC East, where unfortunately one of our favorite players did get benched and Tyrod Taylor did come in, do his job a little bit better than Tommy. So what's your guys' thoughts on that situation in the New York Giants?
I think they want to win games with this move. What? Actually, I think they're trying to lose games.
I think so too,
I think Vito was messing up their draft capital.
for sure. He sure was.
I mean, yeah, they were losing by a lot to the Eagles though. So I feel like they might have wanted to win that game, but now they're like, whatever.
I mean, when you look at Tommy DeVito and the way he's played, he's a winning quarterback. He won the last 3 games. He scored touchdowns. It's like he didn't score. He played mediocre, but he won them the games. He's the Kirk Cousins of the NFC East, right?
Hmm.
So for Tommy to be playing the way he was, I think you should have kept with Tommy. I think he would have played better in the second half. He would have started getting the feel of the game. He only had 59 yards in the first half, right? Something like that. 59 yards, 55 yards. I think he would have played better in the second half. He is a second half quarterback, I do believe, right? So for him to play, I think it would have been better, but it is a business, and I do understand why they brought in Tyrod. And it wasn't like he played bad. He played great in all respect. I thought Tyrod played great for being Tyrod Taylor. It's the only problem is when you believe in a quarterback like Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cullets, and he won you 3 games straight. I would ride with a quarterback that's winning you games.
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of surprised they benched Tommy at the time they did it too for that reason. He has been winning them games, and obviously he didn't put him in the best position to win against the Eagles, but I do agree he would have played better in the second half and probably still wouldn't have won the game either way.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's going to hurt Tommy's confidence if they do ever go back to him too.
I mean, I think he's earned himself a spot on any roster next year when he is cut. I think he will be playing on a team when a quarterback gets hurt next year.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's a QB2, QB3 minimum.
QB2. I would say a QB2.
Yeah, I think backup QB for any team.
Yeah, but like worst case scenario,
Right.
QB3. I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to a team with a hurt quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up, but credit to Tommy for handling it as well as he did.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed though, because you look at Tommy, you think business. You feel me? Standing on
Thanks. But sticking to a quarterback change, obviously the Washington Commanders finally going to Jacoby Brissett after Sam Howell's been struggling the past few games, to say the least. What's your guys' thoughts on this move?
it.
I mean, really, who cares at this point with the Commanders? I mean, yeah, it's good, right? Jacoby Brissett, loved the kid. He played well in Indiana when he played for them. When you have Sam Howell, who was putting up more passing yards or was leading the league in passing yards, and you bench him, it shows you don't believe in your quarterback. You have no
Well,
belief in your quarterback.
they basically came out and said that. They're saying they are now interested in Caleb Williams. So they're pretty much not benching him. They're moving on from him.
I mean, why would honestly the kid was developing this whole year? He was actually developing. He had zero offensive line, and he was still doing the things he was doing with Scary Terry. I
Hmm.
mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the past three games have been rough for him, but prior to the past three games, he was playing great. He had more touchdowns, I believe, than Patrick Mahomes, and
Right,
everyone
he
was
was
like, "Oh
balling
wow,
out.
is he their next quarterback?" You know. And now after three bad games, they're like, "Nah, get out of here." Like, what's he gonna do? It's not like you're gonna
That
make.
and
It's not like you're gonna make the playoffs.
let me say this before Nick goes. This this is terrible for the Commanders because when you look at a kid in Caleb Williams who sits during a bowl game and the backup quarterback plays just as good as you in your best game, but in a bowl game and you're benched and you're sitting because you don't want to get hurt, leaving your guys on red. I mean, come on. Caleb Williams isn't that guy. Let's be honest. He's not that good.
I
He's not
agree.
going to be Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be top five quarterback in the league ever. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, I agree. I think honestly, there's three or four better quarterbacks in this draft class than him,
I 100% agree.
and it shows
One,
that backup quarterback coming in playing that well showed me that it wasn't Caleb Williams, it was the system.
and that's exactly right because how can a quarterback like this come in and play your best game as well, right? Six touchdowns or something like that. His best game was this kid's best game in a bowl game.
Sitting out for that bowl game too. I think it shows a lack of love for the game and a lack
Right.
of competitiveness. And without those things, I don't think you can be a high quality NFL quarterback.
But then
I
how do
mean,
you have trust in your teammates and love for your teammates to go out there and want to fight with the brothers that you go ahead and, fight for every single week?
yeah, I get it. You don't want to get hurt, but like, come on. It's one last game.
Like
It's one last game and it's a bowl game. It's a good bowl game too.
it's his last college football game.
Right. And you go ahead and sit out. There's 40 kids sitting out for that Miami, or no, not Miami, Florida State, Georgia game.
Really.
40 kids are sitting out.
I feel like the college football has to change, make a rule where you can't sit out bowl games, no matter if you're going pro or not. I don't care.
I don't, yeah. And look at Marvin Harrison Jr. The kid actually is traveling with the team. He's going back, getting 25 mil, going back and beating Michigan next year. Like, I mean,
He
like,
might go pro. We'll see.
he's getting 25 mil to go back to play at Ohio State, beating Michigan one more time.
They said he's expected to go. We'll see. So, as we were stating before that intermission, about Caleb Williams, I don't even remember what we were talking about.
We were talking about how Caleb Williams sat out a bowl game because he didn't want to get hurt.
Right.
I mean, it sucks, and it sucks that's the way we're thinking about bowl games now. And oh, I mean, he could have went to the draft last year. Let's be honest. He was a
Yeah.
Heisman winner, right? He could have went to the draft.
Yeah. I mean, he made the right move because it was a QB heavy draft last year too. Not as
Right.
heavy as this year, but like playing a bowl. It's come on.
It's that simple.
Like, and then the Florida State Georgia game, 40 players sitting out. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, play for the school that gave you the chance to go to the NFL, right? That's my whole thing. It's like this school gave you a chance to go to the NFL and be who you want to be, and go out and live your dream. I mean, I would just have the respect and the loyalty to my school to go out and play for them. So
I mean, like bowl games are big for scouts to be at. You think a
for
scout's gonna
sure,
look at you on the sideline and be like, "Oh, I don't want him on my team. He's not playing."
yeah. Why would I want a kid that's not playing? Oh, I've seen him play, but when I'm here in a bowl game, he's sitting, he's laughing the entire time when he could be out there competing. That's not the type of player I want.
No.
Confidence in my eyes as well. I think a bowl game is like a big chance to stand out, make your mark.
Right. You didn't see Tim Tebow? sit out a bowl game?
I think to sit out, like I might be overconfident, as I'm frequently told, but I know I'm like as a receiver, bro, I'm getting like 175 yards, two tutties at least in a bowl game.
Right. Yeah. That's just it. Make your mark, man. Like be part of history.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't understand sitting out. It doesn't make much sense to me. And if I'm an NFL team, I'm looking at that and thinking, like, is he really committed? Because I don't think he is.
Why does he
Right.
play the game if he's not gonna play in that bowl game?
Right.
Right. So I think college definitely has to make a change to bowls. Like, yeah, if you're going pro, I don't care. You got to play.
100%.
But so what are you guys' thoughts on the best fits for Sam Howell? Because I truly do believe he will most likely get traded this offseason.
A good
I
question.
mean, it is a good question. We listed off a lot of teams for Russ. I'm saying whatever team Russ doesn't go to, that's where Sam should go to.
You think he could go to Denver?
You know what I'm saying? Whatever team. So we listed off Las Vegas, we listed off Atlanta, we listed off possibly New York, we listed off other places. I'm saying
Mhm.
whatever team Russ doesn't go to, whether that's Atlanta, whether that's Las Vegas, whether that's New Orleans, that's where Sam should go to because they are both pass heavy quarterbacks.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think Denver could be a good fit for Sam though, under Sean Payton?
I don't want anyone to go to Denver. I don't want anyone to be under that mess, really. I think that is a terrible organization, just as we said before. And that's all I'll say about that.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, Sam could go anywhere. As we said, he had a great season despite getting benched at the end of the year and the Commanders moving on. He had a great season, and he doesn't deserve this. I think he'll be a great quarterback for wherever he ends up.
Right.
I think he has less options than the rest of
Yeah, I think he'll have half the options Russ has.
I think Las Vegas, if I'm Las Vegas, I'm passing off on that. I think their roster's too old to have such a young quarterback still developing.
True.
Um, so if I was him, I think like teams like Washington would be more likely, kind of in that rebuild mode. I think the Falcons would be really nice with them. Yeah, just like young teams where he can grow with the team.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah, that kind of takes out New Orleans too, because like they're older up there too.
Yeah,
We do have Chris Olave. Don't forget about Chris Olave. Like
Yeah,
great
but
player.
age-wise, they're majority of
Oh,
them are older.
majority roles age. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, if I'm Sam, I'm low-key looking at the Giants. If they are moving on from Daniel, I'd be like, sign me. I want to give it to my old team twice a week, twice a year.
I mean, really, realistically, if Tommy DeVito played that well, being Tommy DeVito, a third string quarterback, Tyrod Taylor playing the way he does or has been playing, we all know he can't finish games. But if you
Right.
have a Sam Howell, he's better. He's way better than Danny Dimes. I love Danny Dimes and I loved him. I'm moving past him only because we've seen what he can do. I think we've seen his peak. I don't think there's anything else we haven't seen from Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I agree. The only hard part about Daniel Dimes, just like Russell Wilson, is his contract.
Right. And I think that's something that the Giants would have to swallow their pride for and move on from him.
Yeah, I think that's the best move is for them to move on. I just don't believe they'll do it. And same
No.
thing goes for New Orleans and Derek Carr, the contract, and I don't think they'll move on from him because of that.
I mean, he's not the worst. They were in playoff contention for a little bit. I mean, I do think they need a little bit more, but how much more can you get? You got Chris Olave, you got, Alvin Kamara. I mean, you do have an entire team around you.
I do think it's also the coach, though. They barely use Kamara.
Right.
So maybe a better coach, but like even before he went to New Orleans in Las
Mhm.
Vegas, he was still a mediocre quarterback. Like he didn't deserve the money the Saints threw at him.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
So what are you thinking about over there, Saya?
there's a simple solution to New Orleans situation.
What is it?
Play their backup.
Jameis Winston? I agree.
He's
I
he's always
agree.
one of my fan favorites.
Jameis should have been freed halfway through the season, in my opinion,
He should have been starting.
because I do believe Carr went down with that rib
Yeah.
injury, and Winston came in and lit it up as he always does. I don't understand why they even moved on from Winston after last year. It didn't really make sense to me.
He played well for the Saints. He rejuvenated his career. I really do think he was moving in the right direction. He's still young enough, and we saw what Carr does and what he can do. I feel like if you were having success with Winston, yeah, that was a weird move by the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, that's another interesting organization to watch moving
Yeah.
forward. But what are you guys' most surprising games from weeks 15 and 16?
Oh,
15.
I'm gonna go 16 first. You feel me?
All right, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just like looking up the games.
That's
Get
fine.
it. Stuff on it. You feel me?
I mean, I can do 15 if you want, real quick.
Boy.
Yeah, go
I was
ahead.
I was gonna make that simple. I think the most surprising game for me was the Steelers and the Colts. Like honestly, the Colts to go ahead and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought that was a terrible game. But yeah, I would say that, and I would also say the Dolphins. I didn't think that they would shut out the Jets. I thought they would at least score a touchdown or a field goal. But for them to go ahead and score 30-0, I think that's phenomenal for the Dolphins as well.
I agree with that. I'm gonna go with week 16. I mean, there's a lot of surprising games. The Ravens dethroning the 49ers, Raiders beating the Chiefs. Like it was an upset week 16.
Mm.
But the most surprising to me was the Patriots beating the Broncos.
Ooh.
I really thought that the Broncos would come out and, playoff game. They got to win the game. I thought they'd come
Right.
out, not shut out, but torch the Patriots, and they didn't come to play. Patriots and Zappy came to play, and they got the win.
Well, I think it's Bill saying his big goodbye.
um,
For week 16, I would have to say Bills Chargers.
Mm.
In week 15, we saw the Chargers game to a team that's not on Buffalo's level. And for Buffalo to be that close with the Chargers, I think that's disappointing and it shows weakness in Buffalo. So yeah, just how close.
Yeah, I agree. When I saw that game, I was like, it doesn't make sense to me. They always, they torched the Cowboys the week before, but then they go and almost lose to the Chargers. It doesn't make sense. They play down to their competition, which doesn't bode well for the Bills.
Always playing to their competition.
It's not good because like if they play a mediocre team in the playoffs and play like that, you might lose. You want to go week 16, Gio?
yeah, I mean, week 16 for me, I don't think there was a more surprising game than the Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs, where their quarterback only had 62 total yards the entire game. Um, it was incredible to see the Chiefs' offense look stagnant. Patrick Mahomes looked human. I mean, that defense scored two touchdowns on them. It was remarkable and it was crazy to watch. And I think, yeah, the Raiders defense is legit and it's top three defense in the league right now.
Yeah, I agree. I do believe that that was a very surprising game. I mean, like to make the Chiefs look that bad is shocking, as you
Right.
said, and I do believe that that interim head coach deserves at least a look at being the permanent head coach.
I think he should be. I think the players play for him, right? And that's all you want in a head coach is for the players to play for you. And I really think like for him to get that done and then for him to change the culture that quickly and change the locker room that quickly, I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he got him in playoff contention by himself. So
Right.
there's names out there that could be coaches, but like I don't think any coach that would come in would get the attention of the locker room like this guy has.
For sure. And for that defense to turn around in this one season, right, where they were one of the worst defenses in the league last year, and then now they're the best, possibly one of the best defenses in the league. So,
Yeah, for sure. Saya,
I agree. Um, I think it was surprising. Um, I expected the Chiefs to win, only by a field goal, but I expected them to win. I think the Raiders showed the reality of Patrick Mahomes,
Mm.
as in Tua's better.
Oh my goodness.
Um, but I still expected the Chiefs to handle business, and they couldn't. But shout out to the Raiders.
Shout out Raiders.
What's your week 15 most surprising game, sir?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. You feel me? Oh, no, we are. I was gonna say Cowboys Bills with the massive gap, but we already touched on that game, so I'm gonna slide past it. I must say Lions Broncos.
Mm.
I thought the Broncos were a lot better as of late than that game showed. The Lions stomped the Broncos. I thought the Lions. I think the Lions. Sorry, the Lions showed that they were better than I think they actually are in that game. I think the Lions are a good team, but they're not favorites in the NFC.
Yeah, I can agree with that. They're definitely one of the favorites, but they're not the favorite.
But
But I was gonna say the Raiders Chargers, but I forgot. Week 15, there was a stinker of a game, Panthers Falcons, where the Panthers got their, I believe, second win of the season. So, um, very, very poor display from both teams. I expected it from the Panthers. I did not expect it from the Falcons. I thought the Falcons would come in and handle business. Obviously, they're
Yeah.
not a great team, but you play against the worst team in the NFL. You expect to blow them out no matter how bad you are yourselves. So, disappointed in the Falcons, and I think Arthur Smith should be fired by the end of the season.
Dijon needs the ball way more.
Bro, him and Kyle Pitts don't get the ball. It makes no sense. Like Kyle Pitts, bro, has been there, I believe, 4 years. I don't think he's had a season over 1,000.
But he's only got like 5 career touchdowns or something too.
It's like, bro, there's been times where he just benches Bijan. I'm like, what? Why?
And then he'll make like a design play to go to like their tight end, that John Smith kid or whatever,
Yeah,
for no reason.
bro, he doesn't use his top three. Drake London never gets the ball. Pitts never gets the ball. Bijan never gets the ball. It makes no sense. Like, I don't understand why he's still the coach.
For real.
Any thoughts, Gio?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Pitts is very underrated, underutilized, and I think he needs a quarterback and a coach that really tries to utilize him because he is a very talented player that can do some damage in the NFL.
For sure. Um, You got a segment there, Gio?
Do I have a segment? Yeah. So we're wrapping up 2023. I
Correct.
figured I'd go through and say my favorite sneaker of the year. I'm gonna have to say it's a very obvious pick. I think a lot of people are picking this shoe. Unfortunately, I didn't get them, but I hear it is one of the most comfortable shoes that came out this year. One of the most comfortable Jordan 4s that has ever came out. It's the Jordan SB, Jordan 4 SBs. Really, I really think it's a clean colorway, white, a little bit of brown, I would say, but the highlights of a green, right? So you can skate in them. I think the colorway is very clean, very nice looking shoe. And then of course, the comfortability of it. Jordan 4s are not known for their comfortability, right? They're known for a boxy fit, like a boxy, uncomfortable fit, and for the shoe to feel like completely different, right? And to look the way it is, I think it has to go to the Jordan 4 SBs. one of the best shoes that I think I've seen come out in a long time, and hopefully we can see some more great collaborations from Jordan Brand and Nike going into 2024.
Yeah, for sure. So in video games, big announcement came out the past few weeks. GTA 6 will release in 2025 at some point. They haven't announced the actual date. It will come out in 2025, but it's coming out in 2025. So big news for GTA fans out there. And I'd just like to say a late Merry Christmas to our fans and Happy New Year.
I like that. Um, for the new year, I'm not gonna shout out any new music. Um, I'm gonna give you my top five most listened to from this past year, so you get some more perspective on what I'll be listening to. You feel me? On where my music recommendations come from. Um, my top five guys were King Von,
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
Yep.
G, J. Cole,
Oh yeah.
and Eminem.
Ooh, Eminem. That's a surpriser for me.
So yeah, those were my guys this year who I listened to most. Yeah.
I like those options. All fire rappers for sure. But thank y'all for watching. See y'all in the next one.
Yep. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed, leave a like on this. You feel me? Um, if you have any comments or disagreements or anything, any criticism, whatever, all is welcome. Just let us know down in the comments. Most importantly, thank you for watching and Gia.
Hey guys, make sure you guys go into 2024 strong, accomplish all your goals out there, and like three wise men once said, we'll see you guys next year. Subscribe. Peace.
Peace.